I'm LB, your Director of Music and Worship Arts. I use the pronouns he, him, and his. And today, almost all of the congregational singing will be from the new virtual hymnal, including Servants of Love, our first hymn this morning.
Prophets before us, call on the wise ones of old, call on the ancestors' chorus, call on those witnesses bold. These in their lives were faithful, nobly they reasoned and strove, who were of justice, who were servants of love. Labor in friendship and laughter, labor to reap and to sow, labor for words that come after, labor to learn and to grow. True community stars full of wonder, light of the chalice to guide, light of ideals now to ponder, light of the truth to abide, shine through our doubt and illusion, pour out a grace from above for the serving of justice, for the serving of love. Bring us together in welcome, bring us together in care, bring us together in freedom, bring us together in prayer. Make us a covenant people, vision and hope on the move. Make us servants of justice, make us servants of love.
Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Greater Lansing. My name is Reverend Neal Anderson. My pronouns are he, him, and his. And what a delight it is to be with you all this morning. It was delightful yesterday evening to join some of you in the social hall for the Love for All ball dance, and I'm just so grateful to the faith development team who put it all together with heart-shaped snacks for all and a lighting and dance floor. So much fun to be had. Here at UU Lansing, we affirm that Black Lives Matter. We recognize that our building is on the ancestral, traditional, and contemporary lands of the Anishinaabe Three Fires Confederacy of Ojibwe, Ottawa, and Potawatomi peoples, land ceded in the 1819 Treaty of Saginaw. We gather not because someone says that we should gather, but because of our sense of community. We gather here not in spite of our differences, but to celebrate them. We come from many different backgrounds. We have different abilities, different racial, ethnic, and gender identities. We are all ages, and we find we're infinitely more fabulous when we can bring all of who we are to this religious community. This is what makes our time sacred, and this is what makes our ground holy. So whoever you are, wherever you are on your spiritual journey, we welcome you. I want to let you know that the UU Lansing chapter of the Covenant of Unitarian Universalist Pagans, called Chestnut Grove, will be meeting today at noon in the Chapin Room. Next Sunday after worship, there will be an open house celebrating the completion of our renovations. This will be your chance to walk through the new rooms, envision the possibilities they hold, and share the joy of this milestone in our beloved community. Mark your calendars for Friday, February 27th at 7 p.m. here. There will be a rewind of the variety show Box of Chocolates on video. This is a fundraiser, and you will enjoy the talents on display and help support this religious community. And of course, you can join us for coffee and conversation in the social hall after worship. Members of the Board of Trustees will be present to answer questions or just there for a chat. One of the things that we always do in liturgy comes to us from the early Christian church. They called it passing the peace, sometimes referred to as the holy kiss, for people would gather and as a sign of their solidarity, friendship, and common values, they would share a kiss on the cheek. Now, we include this in our liturgical habits at UU Lansing because community is important to us. And having that opportunity to greet one another, however briefly, and let each other know what a blessing it is to see each other is part of who we are. So let us greet those who join us via live stream this morning. It is good to have you with us this morning. I invite you to greet one another in the sanctuary.
Ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. Come, come, whoever you are. Come, whoever you are. Come, whoever you are.
Good morning. We have two chalice lighters with us today, Jenny and Evie Geese. Will you make your way forward? Good morning. We join together in solidarity as a covenanted people who are drawn together by the promise of connection and the mysterious pull of the unanswerable. The chalice is a symbol of our faith, and like our faith, it is not magic, nor is it mysterious. We light it as a reminder of what we share as a community and of who each of us is called to be. Come, let us worship together.
Good morning. My name is Molly Dean, and my pronouns are she and her. Our story this morning begins with two brave people, Ellen and William Craft, who were enslaved in Georgia more than 170 years ago. They were married, and they dreamed of a life that they could make where they could make their own choices and live in safety. They knew that escaping would be dangerous, but they also knew that they had each other, and that's what made them brave. Ellen had very light skin and came up with a daring plan. She would disguise herself as a sick white gentleman traveling north for medical care. William would pretend to be her enslaved servant. Together, they set out on a 1,000-mile journey to freedom. They rode trains and steamboats, walked through big cities, and stayed calm in moments that must have been terrifying. And on Christmas Day, they finally made it to Philadelphia. But here's where the story becomes not just about resilience and bravery, but about community. Quakers welcomed them into their home. In Boston, free black families gave them a place to live. People on the Underground Railroad shared food, shelter, and protection. Ellen and William were no longer alone. They had a community who believed that freedom belonged to everyone. In Boston, they met Unitarian minister Theodore Parker. Reverend Parker believed that when the world is unfair and cruel, people must come together and help each other do what's right. His church became a gathering place for people determined to resist slavery. But in 1850, everything changed. The U.S. government passed a law called the Fugitive Slave Law, which said that escaped slaves, even those living in the North, had to be captured and returned. It even required ordinary citizens to help capture them. This cruel law put Ellen and William in danger once more. Their former enslavers sent 2 men to Boston to catch them, but the Boston community refused to let that happen. Black and white people worked together, watching the streets, spreading information, and protecting the crafts wherever they went. Theodore Parker and the Vigilance Committee stood guard. Lewis Hayden, a black leader and friend of the crafts, even said he would defend them with his life. For more than a month, the slave catchers tried everything to catch them, but the community was stronger. The people of Boston created a shield of care, of resistance around Ellen and William, so strong that the kidnappers finally left and went home. Knowing that they weren't safe, Ellen and William traveled to England where they could live freely. But they carried with them the memory of a community that stood firm beside them when danger was the greatest. And what about Millard Fillmore, the president who signed that law? He said that he disliked slavery, but believed he had to enforce the law to keep the country together. Theodore Parker strongly disagreed. Parker believed that community, people caring for each other and standing up for one another, was what truly held a nation together. He believed that bad laws could be resisted when good people worked together with courage. Though Theodore Parker didn't live to see the end of slavery, his words inspired many people, including Abraham Lincoln. His resilience and the resilience of communities like the one that protected the crafts helped shape the future of the country. What I love about this story is that it reminds us is that resilience grows when people help one another. Their courage was supported by the whole community working together. Resilience doesn't mean always standing alone. Sometimes resilience is what happens when people gather around one another with love, courage, and the promise that no one will face danger alone.
Words of wisdom. Thank you, Molly. As the students and their advisors go to their next activity down the hall, we'll sing. Shall go out with joy and be led forth with peace. The mountains and the hills will break forth before you. There'll be shouts of joy, and all the trees of the field will clap their hands. And all the trees of the field will clap their hands. The trees of the field will clap their hands. The trees of the field will clap their hands. And you'll go out with joy.
Good morning. My name is Sonya Schryer Norris. My pronouns are she and her, and I serve as your worship associate this morning. Our UU value of pluralism says, we celebrate that we are all sacred beings, diverse in culture, experience, and theology, and we covenant to learn from one another in our free and responsible search for truth and meaning. That's a beautiful sentence. Today, with this message, we're sitting with what it can demand of us. Pluralism can bring discomfort. Not the dramatic kind of discomfort, the ordinary kind. Someone in this room holds a belief that would make you flinch if you heard it out loud, and you hold one that would make someone else flinch. And we choose to be in community together anyway. When that flinch happens, our instinct is to resolve it, fix it, argue it away. But what if we just stayed, not agreeing, not pretending, just staying in relationship with someone whose truth contradicts our own? That staying is the work of pluralism, and it's not passive. It costs us something. It costs us discomfort. I'm going to invite you into a moment where we experience that discomfort privately, but together. Close your eyes, or lower your gaze as you feel called, or go into any comfortable physical position. And notice where discomfort lives in your body right now. Maybe it's in your chest. Maybe it's in your shoulders or upper back. Maybe a clenching in your stomach. And you don't have to fix it. Just be with us and notice it. Take a breath. You don't have to fix it. Just notice it with us. One more breath. You don't have to fix it. Just notice it and let it be here with you and with all of us. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes. We came here today to be in community because we share UU values like pluralism. Pluralism is not a state that we achieve. It's something we practice imperfectly every time we choose to stay. Sitting with discomfort is a practice of what we say we believe.
I'd invite all of you, if you wish, to engage in this ritual of touchstones. Come forward if you'd like. Take a touchstone or more and drop it in the columns of water at the side of the sanctuary. May this ritual begin. Sonya is going to drop a few more touchstones for those of you who join us from home or wherever you are on the live stream, and all of those touchstones that remain in our hearts and on our minds. Our prayer this morning was written by Reverend Dr. Rebecca Savage, who was recently named the UUA's Director of Ministries and Faith Development. I invite you to join with me in the spirit of meditation and prayer. Spirit of life, spirit of love, eternal mystery beyond and within. This morning, receive the meditations of our hearts and prayers this day. We acknowledge that so much of this human experience, this experience of being human, it dances in complexity, challenge, and sometimes heartbreak. We acknowledge that there is so much that we carry each day, the way others have let us down. Feel overlooked, unappreciated, not fully welcomed as who and how we are. And we name for ourselves that to be human, finite beings in an infinite universe is to exist in a world that can be cruel, all too cruel, and that sometimes we sip from bitter cups of cruelty and pass on to others. Sometimes we fall short of remembering that we live in sacred interdependence, and that our strength, our wisdom, our kindness, compassion, and grace are all blessings in the service of the greatest good. With humility, may we reflect on our shortcomings, and with gentle hearts seek that deeper path of living through forgiveness and generosity of heart. Spirit of life, transcendent holy essence around and within us all, help us this day to fully embrace that we are a people of faith, that we believe that another world is possible and is already here within us, if only we choose to return to that hopeful possibility again and again. To be resilient is to proclaim that our love and legacies of love shall endure and make changes in our lives, our families, community, and our world. May we embody resilience each time we persevere. May we embody resilience as easily as we breathe. May our resilience create ripples of possibility for those who seek us, as beacons for sanctuary and for liberation. Amen, and may it be so.
Remaining in a spirit of meditation and prayer, let's join together in the reassuring words of Julian of Norwich. All shall be well, and all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well. All shall be well, and all shall be well, and all manner of things
We give of our time, talents, and wealth to support UU Lansing. We also give on Sundays to participate in the wider life of our community. If you place cash or checks, undesignated checks, in the collection baskets, they will go to our February special plate collection, Citizens for Prison Reform. If you wish to make a pledge payment or donate to the church itself, please use the envelopes provided on the back of the chair in front of you and write for UU Lansing on the envelope or in the check memo line. You can also donate on our website or mail in a pledge or follow the QR code on the screen. You can make a pledge payment in the same ways. I invite you to give generously so that those who cannot contribute financially are able to participate just as fully in this beloved community. We give to this church, and in so doing, remind ourselves how many gifts we have to offer. We will now gratefully receive the morning offering.
Yesterday morning, I awoke early, earlier than I usually do. I headed out to DeWitt, to a lake called Lake Geneva, where a friend had worked for a number of weeks to make sure that a small patch of that lake was frozen well and had a nice, smooth surface. For we had our first Wiener Classic Shinny tournament on that small patch of ice. Now, we had to get there early because we wanted to beat the midday heat. Kind of sounds like golfing, doesn't it? Got to get out there early before it gets too warm to play the game. Well, we were lucky because by the time we finished at around noon, that surface was getting pretty soft and gushy, and the water was starting to come up out of the lake. Probably a good time to leave behind that ice surface. But it was a blessing to be able to, for once in Michigan, skate on frozen ice outside. Something I think that doesn't happen as often. While I was there were families, and I was witnessing to a little one who had a bag of goldfish. You familiar with goldfish? Not the ones that swim in the little tank. No, the ones that you eat. They're kind of orange. I mean, they look like goldfish. Well, this little one had a bag of goldfish, but they had spilled all over the ground. And they were carefully picking up each goldfish that had landed on that dirty carpet and was putting it back into the bag. And it was reminding me of the, like the 5-second rule. Maybe you all had a 10 or 15-second rule. The one that says, okay, if it's only on the floor for that long, still safe to eat. We got talking about various occasions where, the children in our lives may have consumed something that we thought might be not so good, like, the French fry that one person was describing that their child had picked up off the floor of the McDonald's play area. I think that we have that desire, right, to intervene in those moments because we don't want to see our loved ones suffer by getting sick or being unhappy with a moldy French fry or a dirty goldfish. We don't tend to like to see our loved ones, and sometimes we ourselves don't like to be uncomfortable, to sit with discomfort. That can indeed interfere, that discomfort and maybe even illness can interfere with our happiness. And for some, happiness has been promoted as a goal of life. I was told that the founding document, or one of the founding documents of this very nation of which we stand or sit or are in, adopted July 4th, 1776, that Declaration of Independence, it ends with life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You're charged as good United Statesians to pursue happiness. Happiness is the goal of the nation. But what happens if happiness becomes our only goal? Research suggests if our core goal is to be happy, in fact, we become less happy. For every setback that we have, every slight, every feeling of unhappiness, every disappointment, every discomfort just becomes proof that we're not going to meet our goal, that we are unsuccessful at our goal of always being happy. There are markers, these are markers of proof that we are not effectively achieving this goal. Valuing happiness, having the goal of being happiness, and eschewing discomfort is ultimately not the way to achieve it. So we can embrace and sit with, as Sonya invited us to do this morning, sit with our discomfort. We can be okay with not being okay. We can be okay with what some would call our negative emotions. I found this beautiful little print at a Lansing craft sale a few years ago, and it just simply says, it's okay to be sad. So I have this in my mirror in the bathroom at home. It's okay to be sad. I know some of you can't see it, but take my word for it. It says, it's okay to be sad. Beauty is inseparable from our fragility as humans. For you are healthy until you're not. You are with people you love and who love you until you are not. You have a great job that you love until you don't. Resilience is to develop ways to deal with our thoughts and emotions which don't become a constant struggle not to feel them because we just want to be happy. How do we embrace them, be with them, learn from them? Sometimes when I feel discomfort, I want to immediately fix it. Sometimes when I see discomfort, dis-ease in others, I want to immediately fix them. I'll give them all the solutions that they need. Everyone. And sometimes I'm told, I didn't want a solution. I didn't want you to fix me. I just wanted you to witness to my discomfort and my pain. Sometimes we'll go to a meeting of an organization for which we belong, and a problem will be brought up. And then the rest of the meeting, we will all discuss how we're going to solve the problem immediately, because it's uncomfortable to know that the organization is creating some kind of discomfort, dis-ease for somebody. So we've got to fix it ASAP. At some point in the past, I had learned about this philosophy of leadership called adaptive leadership. Maybe some of you had studied it as well. This notion that we are, as leaders, we're constantly adapting to change. And sometimes in adaptive leadership, we have to sit with our discomfort because change continually happens. And maybe at that meeting where the problem is brought up, we don't have a solution. Maybe we wait, even though it's uncomfortable, until such time that a solution arises that might be better than the one that came immediately, as we discussed. I love this idea that expectations are disappointments waiting to happen. Expectations are disappointments waiting to happen. I did say to somebody said, "Oh, what did you think of that?" I said, "I had no expectations, so it was better than I could ever imagine. No expectations at all." So how is it that as religious people, as people of faith, that we commit to witnessing more often than we commit to fixing? I must say, though, sometimes, don't get me wrong, immediate relief from discomfort is necessary. Okay, if I have a headache and there's some ibuprofen there, I do take it. And it sometimes relieves the headache. Now, I know some people say, I'll grin and bear it, but it's not necessary. There are things that immediate relief is necessary, and we don't have to grin and bear it. Rita Nakashima Brock and Rebecca Parker, both theologians, wrote a wonderful book a number of years ago called Proverbs of Ashes. And it was a critique of the Christian theology of atonement. This theology that suggests to us that suffering is redemptive, looking at the suffering of Jesus as a redemptive quality of the faith community, and telling us that we should suffer things that no human should suffer because it is redemptive. They eschewed that theology and invited the reader into a Christianity that was rooted in healing and love, a desire and a wish by them to overturn bad theology that suggests that all suffering is redemptive, for it is not. Nassim Taleb, I learned, coined a term that might be helpful for us in this work of resilience. He coined a term called anti-fragility. Anti-fragility. And it kind of means that there are systems that we can look to that get stronger if they get pushed and knocked around. For example, our immune system. If we take that goldfish and, it's dirty from the ground and we eat it, our immune system can build resilience and resistance to that. If we have a bout of, some virus, our immune system will attack that virus and it will grow stronger. And the next time that same virus comes along, there'll be more resistance and resilience to that. I love going to the gym and weightlifting, and I understand that when one weightlifts, apparently you're breaking down your muscles. You're actually tearing them, and then as they recover and repair, they get stronger. So this is the kind of system that Nassim Taleb coined the term of anti-fragility. He talks about this idea of post-traumatic growth. Not just post-traumatic stress, but post-traumatic growth. How do we grow from traumas? And we can look at this notion of the pursuit of happiness not as the goal, but we can look at it indirectly. How do we pursue happiness not directly, but indirectly? And there's a suggestion that we can break down those elements of happiness and go at them a little bit. Like, as opposed to looking at the full sun and getting that blinding headache, we can look at individual parts of the spectrum of the rainbow to metaphorage just a little bit. So there's this, what would you call it? Mnemonic, I think, a mnemonic, like a word in each letter means something that we can think of when we think of the work of anti-fragility and coming at happiness, not directly, but sort of around. And that is spire. So spire refers to spiritual, physical, intellectual, relational, and emotional well-being. Spire, spiritual, physical, intellectual, relational, and emotional well-being. Spiritual, finding meaning and purpose in our lives. Physical. I learned that half the people who have vacation as part of their job in the United States, half of those people don't take vacations. And half of those people that do take the vacations, they're still tethered to their job because you can take your job with you anywhere you go. So stress isn't the problem, but apparently the lack of recovery from that stress is. So how do we pay attention to our spiritual well-being, meaning and purpose, our physical well-being, our intellectual well-being through asking questions or deeply engaging with various materials, text and arts, paintings, music, even nature. How do we attend to and ask questions? Our relational well-being, that quality of time that we spend with people who care about us and whom we care about. And that emotional well-being, knowing that those negative emotions, we don't have to fight them, we can accept them. That it is okay not to be okay. As I was looking at this mnemonic of spire, I was thinking about how even in our liturgy, on a Sunday morning in an hour, we try to think about our spiritual, our physical, our intellectual, our relational, and our emotional well-being. So literally what we're doing here is we are in spire. We are in spire. So we don't come together to be inspired, but we come together because we can be inspired. We can witness to our lives. We can work on our spiritual, physical, intellectual, relational, and emotional well-being. And through that, we become more resilient. So this morning, I invite you to continue to inspire. May it be so.
As we sit in discomfort, there can be hope, joy, love, way, way, way down in there somewhere. Our final hymn today comes from the new hymnal. It's called Seed of Hope. It is super easy to learn. It's got all the same words on every single verse except for one. First verse, you can see it in caps on the screens there, hope, and then it will change. So that's the only word that changes each time. And then the last time, we'll sing There's a Seed of Hope again. We've sung this through a couple of times with the choir. They seem to like it, so I'm hoping that you will too. Anne Marie's going to play it all the way through once for us.
I invite you to join together in the benediction. As a religious community, inspired by awe and wonder, we nurture spiritual growth, connect in authentic, loving relationships, and engage in the courageous work for peace and justice. Our worship is over. May our service begin.